There, in the 70s, it was guaranteed. They were the kingpins. They had the money, and they financed our debt, and that's where we bought so much of our oil. But that isn't the case right now. But the people are starting to suffer. If you're going to have a civil war, sometimes the winners of the war comes from the people. Maybe it's a bloody contest, but eventually they have to get support of the people. And right now, there's a lot of unhappy people there, a lot of Saudis who aren't employed. And so they're not the rich country that they used to be. And this may, be a real problem for them to deal with the people now that are having their standard of living lowered.
Yeah, they've had to enact some sweeping reforms. They put in a very unpopular austerity program for their vast bureaucracy. Everyone sort of works for the state, and they had to tighten the belt, so that became very unpopular. They actually had to even overturn part of that. But, and this is, I think, where you can see some fault lines, some friction. Bin Salman recently spent $500 million on a yacht that caught his eye in the south of France. So you can imagine these problems with austerity. They're stuck in a desert. They at least want to get some decent money. And then you have the king spending very, very wildly. You also have 33% of 15 to 24-year-olds completely out of work, and it's a very young country as well. So I think you have the seeds being sown for this kind of conflict.
And Qatar is involved in this thing, too, because Saudis are very aggressive now. It reminds me of how we treat our allies. They're allies as long as they're obedient. And as long as all the Persian Gulf countries were obedient, to Saudi Arabia, they were okay, but all of a sudden there was too much independence with Qatar, and now they have been threatened, and it doesn't look like they're going to roll over, and that's going to add fuel to the fire too, because they're going to, if violence breaks out within that country, they can't help but they won't ignore it, and the